It was 4 years ago that I started to take interest in digital art. At that time, I had just been introduced to a blogging website called Tumblr.com, which is currently one of the biggest platforms for artists and photographers to showcase their creativity and skills. What caught my eyes at first was photo editing, particularly adding filters to pictures. From there, I dived into graphic design, producing pop art inspired posters, infographics, album covers, etc. After discovering Graphics Tablet, I started to learn how to draw digitally, and I was able to produce short, digital comic strips. However, among all that, what interested me the most was GIF. I thought that it was a very interesting concept. A short clip, only a couple of seconds long, set in an infinite loop. It's not a video, but not a still picture. I was very fascinated. There's something humorous about the loop, especially when also put in a humorous context. The more I watch the GIF, the funnier it seems to get. You can also find sets of GIF that were made from episode of a TV show. They often capture the highlight of the episode, like a summary. And because sound is not present, subtitles are often added. Unlike still images, GIFs are able to provide more realistic picture and therefore express emotion more clearly and straightforwardly. A flipbook is a series of hand-drawn illustration or images compiled into a small booklet. They gained their popularity in the late 19th century and early 20th century. Each illustration or image will have a small alteration to create a sense of movement. How it works is that you must flip each page and this will create an animation effect. Therefore, this could be said as the early form of GIF. Wendy Marvel and Mark Arnon Rosen is one of the few artists that still uses flipbooks as their medium of art. However, they do not produce the traditional flipbooks that comes in the form of a small booklet, but a mechanical one. The sheets of illustration are attached to a tool that came in the shape of a tube and has a handle attached from the outside of the machine. When this handle is turned, it creates a loop and allows a smoother transition between the frames. Bloody Dairy is an animation project created by Min Liu, a Taiwanese graphic designer and animator currently based in NYC. This project is a part of the 100 Days Challenge in which she has posted a total of 100 different animation GIFs every single day for 100 days. She described her art style as unique with a dark sense of humor. This rings true in her animations. Her 81st animated GIF displays two different ideas to create one concept. A woman in her bathing suit can be seen relaxing under an umbrella as if she was in a beach. However, two loaves of bread are beside her, and they are both lying on top of a grill. Wisps of smoke rise as the woman changes side as if they're both being cooked. While the bread is literally being cooked, the woman is actually tanning. Her humor comes in the form of a visual pun. In relation to her working process and how she got her ideas, she had continuously emphasized on the lack of time that she had throughout this project. She had mentioned that that is the reason why she had only used 3 blocks of colors and minimal details. This feature, in my opinion, is a very important aspect in helping her animation to look less gruesome and to become more lighthearted. In addition to this, Min Liu had also added little special effects to her animation like wisps of smoke and little lines added around the feet to emphasize the jumping effect, which gives it a humorous and comical effect. Another detail that she passed on is the facial feature of all her human characters, which creates a sense of vagueness of identity. However, this absence is filled by the smoothness of her animation and loops, which results in very fluid and natural movements. This was because her method of using a reference video of herself and basing her animation on that. Her animations are so smooth that I kept finding myself picturing the facial expression in my mind straight away, as if the facial expression were not even needed. Liu's gifts are two opposite poles, reality and fantasy, like a scene that comes straight from a dream with unlimited imagination. Anything's possible, anything could happen. This feature added with the perplexing imagery reveals a hint of surrealism. Her work that reminds me the most of this is her 30th post that looks similar to Christian Sloas' painting Garden of Melancholia. In this GIF, a faceless character can be seen caressing his or her non-existent face, looking into a mirror that is a face. It's an image that seems to expose a deep hidden thought. It's almost as if the character is grieving what she could have been, or perhaps what he or she once was, like looking into the past. In our interview, she claimed that her favorite piece in this project was her 53rd post. This GIF displays a hand watch and a miniature person standing on top of it. Whenever the ticking arrow approaches her, she jumps. In response to this, she explained that this GIF shows a very accurate feeling during this project. Animation can be very time-consuming, and this shows that she had to fight against time to post one animation per day. This could also suggest that she is overworking, skipping time for herself and to relax. She also claimed that time is never enough. She can't stand still, she must keep moving so that time doesn't throw her off her feet. Under the pseudonym 1041UUU, Toyo Yuta posts animated GIFs on Tumblr capturing different sides of Japanese scenery and culture. His early posts often features kawaii characters inspired by manga characters. Kawaii means cute when translated to English. This cute culture comes in different forms. It can be found in clothing and fashion trends, accessories, in TV shows or animes, which is Japanese cartoon, and even behavior. In fashion trends, the most noticeable attribute that separates it from the others are the bright and vivid colors that are often accompanied by the use of excessive accessories. However, what made this craze for cuteness international is the cute characters. Anime characters like Hello Kitty are known for its petite size, feminine clothing, and innocent image. Because of this, it has become a brand that is closely associated with Japan. Aside from that, his more current GIFs capture Japan's tranquil beauty but also the darker side, like isolation and poverty that often stays hidden from the public media. Yuta's style of animation is very different from Min Liu's in many ways. Aside from the difference in how each frames are illustrated, many of Yuta's GIFs are very tranquil and peaceful, which gives the viewer a calming effect, unlike Min Liu's striking GIFs. Furthermore, the movement is another aspect that differentiates them. Yuta's GIF have minimal movement. The sense of motion are done in only little blocks of colors, while Liu's are very fluid. A good example of this is a GIF of high school girls waiting for the train to arrive in winter. All of these girls are given very slight movement like tapping feet, a gesture that suggests impatience, bubbles of breath to emphasize the coldness of the weather. It's fascinating to me how he's able to imply traits and expression of a character in just a few blocks of colors. Another Yuta's great ability is the ability to create mood from colors. One example is a GIF capturing a sakura tree, one of the many features that Japan is very famous for. In this GIF, he uses pastel colors, which gives the scene a glowing effect. The whole scenery is tinted pink, giving it a romantic atmosphere. This is also further emphasized by the petals that are strewn across the pathway. Aside from the tranquil and charming pixels, Yuta also gives a little insight into a side of Japan that is not often seen before. For a long time, Japan has been dubbed as one of the wealthiest countries in the world. However, this GIF reveals the poorer part of the city that seems to be neglected and underdeveloped, which gives it a dark and depressing atmosphere. The color palette of this particular GIF is the most noticeable to imply its depressing atmosphere. Compared to the city in the background with a pale color palette and a huge blinking TV screen on a building, very far, seeming like a dream away, the main view appears blue and somber. In addition to that, a curvy thorny tree that looks more like a claw rather than a tree can be seen dividing the scene between the city and the slums, like a welcoming sign to a ghost town. At the corner of the GIF, cats assembled as if to watch over the people within the slums. At the bottom of the GIF, an old man that looks more like a zombie sits on the edge of the pathway with his feet inches above the water, unmoving. Thus, the scenery not only looks grim but also mysterious, full of hidden secrets. Yuto's gift that captures the scene of a crowded train and a crying wolf, in my opinion, is one of the most eye-catching gifts he's ever posted. In some ways, these two gifts share many similarities. Like the previous gift, these gifts also carry a dark and mysterious atmosphere. However, I feel like it is more frankly expressed through the use of a dark blue color palette. Both also have some sort of window looking out to the outside world, and it is often colored with bright, almost white colors, in contrast to the dark colors of the scene inside. This makes the dark color appear darker and therefore create a theme of isolation, almost like they're trapped. Perhaps this is Yuta's commentary on Japanese society. Yuta animated the theme of isolation in two different ways for these two different gifts. The first gift discussed isolation related to technology. Advanced technology is growing rapidly each day, which is expressed by the speed of the train. While this is a good progress, it increases our dependence on technology and internet, especially for the current generation. Thus, this creates a sense of isolation from the real world outside. In this GIF, all the passengers had their head down, looking at their phones. The blinking screen is reflected on some of the passengers' glasses as if they're hypnotized. Despite the movements of the train, the passengers are very still and unmoving, like a statue, creating a lifeless scene. The second GIF elaborated more on the feeling of isolation. This GIF illustrates a wolf-like dog that seems to be in grief and great sadness, like it's just lost its owner. What I think the most interesting about this GIF is the fact that it expresses an emotion that people could easily relate to, and therefore empathize. For example, when I first came across this GIF, it made me question what had happened to it. Another interesting feature to point is the fact that the fire on the stove is still lit, and some machines are still blinking with red and green light. It's almost as if the owner had suddenly vanished in the middle of the night. There are spider webs in the ceiling as if the apartment was not taken care of, which creates a sense of neglect. Because of this, there's a rise of the theme of depression, which is still very much a taboo in Japan, like something that should be hidden. Maori Sakai is also a Japanese illustrator that dived into animation. Unlike the other two artists that I've discussed before, her method of animation is much more traditional. This is because she uses her actual pencil illustration, which she later scans and manipulates in Photoshop and After Effects. Her animation style had been described as cute, witty, and playful by various online magazines and blogs. Aside from the method of animation, what sets her apart is her detailed and sketchy art style, which the other two artists does not own. She often includes handwritten typography. This, accompanied by the faint and soft colorings using watercolor paint, gives her animation a vintage finish. Sakai often leave her backgrounds plain. This enables the illustration to be the main focus, and this could also give her gifts a sense of peace and harmony. Like Minliu, Sakai's gifts also have a hint of fantasy about them. However, it's not the dark manipulation that can be found in Minliu's work. Sakai's animation are quirky and light, a kind of fantasy that can be found in Disney movies. A good example is one of her gifts that displays a person laying down on a sofa, reading a levitating book that flips its own pages on a rainy day, while the other various objects are also levitating. It's completely harmless, something that the person seems to do absent-mindedly. This, as a result, can also create a sense of humor. The most interesting thing that I can see from Sakai's blog is how personal and how close her artwork is to her. Not only from the gifts, but also various illustrations of outfit, food, coffee, something that she claimed really inspires her, and sketches of the making process of her gifts. It's almost as if her art is a part of her personality, bubbly, energetic, and simplistic. Carl Burton is a digital artist based in NYC. His monochromatic animated GIFs have been described as surreal and hypnotizing by several bloggers and online magazines. In this section, I will concentrate on Burton's collaboration project with Serial Podcast, which retells the journey of an American soldier called Bo Bergdahl who walked off his post in Afghanistan and was later held captive by the Taliban. The serial discussed the reason why he walked off and whether his decision was justified or not. Like many other Burton's work, Dust One also comes in monochromatic colors, specifically in dark blue hue. Aside from the barbed wire and huge cans where the wire is planted, the air is just dust and wind, lacking of vegetation and warmth, creating a lonely and lifeless atmosphere, and therefore isolation. It does not seem like a place where people could live. The hovering mist so white and opaque it's almost as if it was concealing all the filthiness and ugliness of the place where the soldiers had to live, blending the area into complete nothingness.
A significant point that could be noted here is the chilling stillness, like a moment of silence right before a huge storm. Dust One in itself means a duty status, whereabouts unknown. It signals the U.S. that a service member had gone missing, which means this in itself is a symbolic of the whole situation that Bo Bergdahl is facing. The decision he has to take, whether to leave or not to leave. It makes the situation more real, as if nature is responding to the soldier's uncertainty.
Barbed wire could symbolize war and conflict, an unstable state. The angle that was used to capture the barbed wire made it look like it's either keeping something or someone inside or out. This may therefore explain the relationship between the Afghans and the American soldiers. The mist surrounding the area might appear more like clouds, creating the effect that this place is untouchable, which creates a sense of tension. This time Burton used brown as a color palette. The blurry, foggy effect makes the GIF look like a picture taken by an old disposable camera, which also gives it a vintage finish, like a scene that came straight from a memory. One aspect that I found very interesting in this GIF is the use of perspective. The combination of this and the use of vignette drags the focus to the second car and the light behind it. Since the car is facing away from the light, it almost looks like they are slowly leaving their safe haven to do a dark and treacherous mission. The cars are placed at the very outside of the GIF. The dirt path is very narrow, the background blurry and not clear like somewhere far, far away. It makes the path look like a cliff. If you just drive a little bit off to the side, you can fall and die. This emphasizes the danger of the mission that the soldiers were doing. You also see just enough of a dirt path to notice that it's a curvy one, and with the movement and loop, it makes the cars look like they're driving in a circle, going nowhere, suggesting that there is no point in doing the mission. Almost all Burton's GIF in this series collaboration possess a misty and foggy look in them. Similar to episode 1, the fog in this episode is so thick even the headlights can't shine through. This, combined with the narrow path, suggests the level of danger of the mission they're doing. However, this danger does not seem to reflect on the mood of the scene, even if they know what they're going into. In fact, they're moving in a calculated accuracy, no hesitation. They're not rushing nor slowing down, scared by what is to come. They move in a steady pace with a sense of patience and perseverance with no fear or objection. This suggests that the soldiers take pride in what they do. It may not be a safe mission, they may not come back alive, but they will move on. This project have made me realize how significant GIFs had become in today's media. It's no longer just loops of funny cats or TV episodes, it has become a new canvas, a new medium of art. Not only that, it is a way of people to express their feelings or opinions in the way that words or a still image cannot. These artists utilize GIFs, more specifically animation, in different ways. Minlia have mentioned that animation helped her to tell her stories more accurately compared to graphic design. Through this medium also, she could really push how far her insanity can go, while Maori Sakai's GIF resembles more like a diary capturing the series of events happening around her. In my opinion, Toyo Yuta's way of presenting his views through his GIF is the most captivating aspect of this whole project. While looking through his GIFs, I feel like I was able to perceive the world through his lens. I get the feeling that despite looking through his lens, he does not only let us see what he wants us to see. It resembles a story written in third-person omniscient. He gives us an unbiased, truly real view of the scenery or event happening in the GIF. Furthermore, in every GIF that I've seen, all of them contain a certain stillness and tranquility that gives off a calming effect. Aside from that, due to its rising popularity among teens and young adults, now GIFs are used in many online advertisements. Now, in this digital era, artists, especially animators, are able to gain much more job opportunities.